Hello class and welcome to this Donkey Kong Jr. walkthrough right here on Video Games 101 by way of Let's Play with Brigands. I'm your instructor, Professor Brigands, and this class comes right on the heels of our class on its predecessor, the original Donkey Kong. We have similar tips to help you get through not just one but multiple loops in this game. Speaking of which, just like with the original Donkey Kong, obviously we're playing this in the Classics combo, but the rule still holds true that if you pick Game Mode B, it jumps you ahead one loop. So everything's more difficult on the second loop, so if you just want to dive right into a greater challenge, go ahead for Mode B. But speaking of challenge, in terms of difficulty, I'm going to go ahead and give Donkey Kong Jr. the same grade which we gave the original Donkey Kong. They're about on par with one another, so I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10, which on the frustration scale equates to emitting a 4-letter swear, maybe because a bird turned at just the wrong time and got you in that final stage there in Donkey Kong Jr. But rest assured, we have all the tips that you need to succeed at this game. And even if that's not what you're here for, we have Fluff standing by with some interesting facts about this game, which you should find interesting. There you go. So let's run the intro and get into this Donkey Kong Jr. walkthrough right here on Video Games 101. Start a new game now of Donkey Kong Jr., again with Game Mode A, so the base level of difficulty as we take a look at the controls for Donkey Kong Jr. Pretty much the same as the first Donkey Kong, as are the Briggs notes, come to think of it. One thing to mention is that when you're on the vines, some ropes, whatever you're climbing, that Donkey Kong Jr. goes down the ropes faster single-handed, but he goes up faster if you have 2 ropes in either hand, or 1 in either hand, so there you go. So the blue chomps just keep on going, the red ones come back up, so make sure you know that difference. Easy jump here on the first instance of this level. It'll get more challenging to where you might need to jump to that top right vine. Here I like to take a little shortcut, jump on the spring, just as that platform's coming up on the midway point there to avoid all that stuff on the right. Make sure you grab this hook right here as it's extended, and then reach out and make sure you don't transition until you're far enough over to the left to get that chain over there. But note the pattern with the birds as Mario unleashes them here. Not too difficult though, you can wait until they're gone. Since they both go down that little hole right there, you can wait till the right, but on this stage it's all about knowing the difference between the brown, more circular sparks and the blue ones. The brown ones just stick to their platforms, make loops around them. The blue ones are the ones that transition from platform to platform, so the main thing is to not box yourself in between 2 sparks. Anticipate their movements, and not too difficult on this first go-around. We have 1 extra level here in Donkey Kong Jr., so we're now on the final level of this first loop. So with tips on how to take down Mario, that's weird to say, here's Gary.
It's Scary Gary's Boss Beaters. I feel a little weird about telling you how to take down Mario, but nonetheless, he's got to be stopped here. You got to push all the keys into the locks. Make sure you're using the 2 hands to go up those ropes faster, to push those locks up. Find the open spots where the birds aren't, where those chomps aren't. Stay away from the sides to give yourself more time to react to those birds, because they can turn very quickly. You don't always know where they're going to come out of their dives, but yeah. Get all those keys in, take down Mario. I feel weird about it, but there you go, you've beaten Donkey Kong Jr.
Good luck, Gary. Thank you very much. Yeah, mind the birds, obviously. Alright, so we're going to do 3 loops of all 4 levels, just like we did 3 loops in our class on the original Donkey Kong. Link in the description, the playlist. Every single class we've ever done. And you can see we have a tighter window with these chomps right here this time. He's letting them out at a greater clip, so make sure that red one's out of the picture. And then once that blue one goes for that first vine, that gives us the opening that we need right there. Let's bring in Blaze now for an overview. There's not a whole lot of items in this game, but still, nonetheless, let's bring him in for some information on the different points we can pick up. Blaze?
Don't need to worry about scurvy with the items of Donkey Kong Jr. Just a handful of fruits. You got yourself the apple, bananas, and I don't know, peaches, something like that. I'm not sure, but either way, they're all worth 400 points if you pick one up. If you manage to drop one on an enemy, 800 points. But there you go. The items, if you even want to call them that, of Donkey Kong Jr.
Good luck. Thank you very much, Blaze. I think that's my favorite stage of the 4 right there, although it is fun to kind of shimmy those keys up in the final stage, I have to say. Again, we know the movement patterns of these sparks right here, and note the transition points that these blue ones have to work with the dotted lines right there, the dots that appear between them. Let's wait for that opening here, and then lay out for that jump, and there you go. Alright, moving on to the boss level once again. It's going to be a little bit more difficult. The birds are moving a little bit faster. Their movement patterns are a bit more erratic. Same deal with the chomps. Something very satisfying, though, about working up these two keys at the same time. But yeah, you have to do a lot of mental gymnastics on this stage in particular, because you always want to be moving as quickly as possible, whether it's up or down on the chains. And obviously it's different motion. You need to single fist the chain if you're going down for the most velocity, whereas yeah, if you're going up, once again, you need to have one hand on either side there. And there's our window right there. Alright, as we go into the final loop one more time, let's bring in Fluff for some interesting facts about this Donkey Kong Jr.
1982's Donkey Kong Jr. is the sequel to the original 1981 arcade smash hit Donkey Kong. It was once again created by its video game designer icon, Shigeru Miyamoto, but this time flips the roles of its predecessor's characters, with the protagonist of Mario now acting as the villain who has captured Donkey Kong, as DK's son Donkey Kong Jr. is out to rescue him. I mentioned it in our class on Donkey Kong that Miyamoto was influenced by King Kong in designing the original title, and that theme is even more on display in this title. Incidentally, the film media company Universal brought legal action against Nintendo, believing Donkey Kong was a trademark infringement of their owned King Kong property, but their lawsuit ultimately failed. Donkey Kong Jr. was born during the development of the original Donkey Kong, as there were a number of designs and concepts which didn't quite fit in with the original title or never came to fruition due to time constraints, so eventually these ideas spun into their own game. Miyamoto initially wanted to make a game with Donkey Kong as the protagonist, but due to his massive size, they pivoted to featuring his son as the playable character instead. Regarding DK Jr. himself, while it was never explicitly made clear, it's hinted that Donkey Kong Jr. is the father of the modern-day Donkey Kong as we know him from the Donkey Kong Country series, and seemingly thousands of other games, with the original Donkey Kong being modern-day Donkey Kong's grandfather, also known as Cranky Kong. There's a sequel to this game, Donkey Kong 3, which is generally a departure from the first two games, with it being a shooter, and stars an exterminator instead named Stanley, who defends a greenhouse from a giant ape.
Good call, Fluff. I don't think I've ever played Donkey Kong 3, but who knows, maybe eventually we'll get around to doing a class on it after we figure out what the heck that's a greenhouse. That's interesting. Wonder why the departure. Why get away from Mario? Maybe he was too much of a superstar at that point with his other games. I don't know. Clearly, I need some Fluff facts on that game because I know nothing about it, but here we go. Don't want to force anything on this final. Ooh, suck it in there, DKJ. Got clipped there. That was very close. That was generous, actually. And you can see how this gets crazy pretty quickly with all the birds and just... Alright. Had to go aggressive there. Here you go. 3 up, 3 down, 3 runs. That's our time for this week, though. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so to enroll in these classes. We do one of these classes every single week. Click that like button if you don't mind and leave a comment. It really does help us out. But that'll do it. We'll see you next week in the same spot for next week's class, right here on Video Games 101. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and comment on this video, and click subscribe if you haven't already, as this seriously helps me to keep making great content for you. And check the description of this video to see what song is playing right now.